Welcome back, everybody, to the Social Distance Podcast. It's the first rest day of the Tour de France. Well, it's the second, but it's the first traditional rest day of the Tour de France, and this is our wrap-up of it so far. Rest assured, you can't see George at the moment, but George is here. George was here for the show. He left maybe 10 minutes before the end of the show, but he was here, and he had a good chat. He talked about what it's like working for Pogačar in the yellow jersey. We discussed, tactics from Jumbo-Visma, from other teams.
Talked about why he's a great rider and a shit bloke.
Yeah,
shit bloke really brought that home with that fan.
Yeah. We discussed a lot of the incidents of the Tour de France so far. Talked about the curse of the Aussies this year. Apart from Clarkey, a lot of things. There's lots to unpack. There's a lot going on in the Tour de France so far. We talked about bonuses. What are people getting paid to win Tour de France stages? You'll find out. Like, share, subscribe.
Let's just run the intro and wing it like we always do and see what comes out of it.
Let's get ready to rumble! Front kick.
Just getting bored and Arsenal chat.
My radar's going pretty hard at the moment. I think we should.
Will you shut up, man?
That escalated quickly.
We're going to need to get some more qualified guests on the show, eh?
The hotly anticipated first rest day, or second rest day of the Tour, first traditional rest day of the Tour de France Social Distance Podcast episode. And I tell you what, I reckon we're going to have a fucking mixed bag today because I'm probably the freshest out of the lot because I'm A, not racing the Tour de France, and B, not trying to film a Tour de France. But also I'm not at the Tour de France, so I've got no idea what the fuck's going on. So all the best.
I've just woken
Not
up
much
from
has
one
been
of those,
happening.
I've woken up from one of those traumatic sleeps, like the real traumatic ones, when I just slept for 2 hours in the middle of the afternoon, rest day. I've just woken up and I'm just, I don't even know who you two are. Like, the whole world to me is a blur. I'm just nursing my way through it on an English breakfast cup of tea.
This is like you most shows, George. You're always groggy in the morning. It's just that you've had a Arvo siesta.
You might not know who I am, but I know who you boys are. I know that Jonsey's a great bloke, and I know you're a shit bloke. Those T-shirts you got on.
I'll tell you what, the amount of people that we've just given a license to abuse us, I mean, it's great, but that's the biggest compliment I get on the roadside. In the last week, the amount of people that have just screamed at me, "Get up, GB, you shit bloke." And I'm going, well,
What about
at least I'm a good rider.
they were putting it on the road, like
Yeah, that's
posted
awesome.
that
Everywhere.
bills.
I've seen it everywhere.
Yeah. That's
And,
so good, eh?
There's going to be one day, I reckon, about stage 16, where I just, like, my emotion's not going to be able to take it. And I'm just going to be like, oh, it's too far now.
Yeah. Fuck off!
I had a Kiwi guy come up at the buses and he goes, "Hey, Jonesy, where's your merch?" I go, "I'm wearing the cap." He goes, "Ah, shit out, where's your shirt?" I don't know, it's in my bag. He goes, "Oh, I gave George some 12s yesterday. Yeah, he fucking loved it." Oh, yeah,
Oh,
great.
yeah.
Okay.
This bloke actually gave me like a 5-pack of like bulk, like a kilo of chocolate.
Legend.
Yeah. And I said to her, "Mate, where's your press pass?" He goes, "Nah, fuck that, just jump the fence." "See you, mate, gotta go."
I was wondering how we got to the bus.
Yeah, he had no pass. He was just like a bull terrier. He was just running through, causing damage.
Actually,
He was loving it.
something's just happened at lunch, actually. Do you remember the story I told, I don't know, last week, 2 weeks ago, I can't remember, about the bloke that showed up with the poster?
Yeah.
So I said, if people don't listen, there was like this guy showed up with this big poster of me, didn't want it, but he, tried to trap me into giving him a t-shirt. And I just kicked the can down the road and was like, I said to him like, "Oh, I don't have a jersey for you now. I've only got skin suits here. I need them for the race." And then he didn't speak any English. He's only speaking French. So he's like, and I speak terrible French now. It's been 10 years since I lived there or something. And I'm trying to explain to him, like, "Oh, mate, just bring it to the tour." He's like, "Oh, I'll be at the tour." And I was like, "Bring it to the tour." He's like, "Oh, where's your hotel?" I was like, "I don't know." He gave me his email and stuff, and I directly threw it in the rubbish bin because he was like 70, well, I feel like 60-year-old French guy that was just so pushy. I didn't want to be rude, so I just kicked the can down the road and said, "Oh, at the tour, we'll do whatever." Anyway, I'm sitting at lunch today, eating lunch, and the the waiter lady runs in and she's like, "Oh, George Bennett, you have a meet. I can't remember the word. It was like you have a meeting with a guy, an appointment. That's what she said. You've got an appointment with this guy." And I was like, "Who?" And she went back out, got his name. It's like, "Oh, Roland, someone." And everyone's looking at me like, "What appointment do you have? It's 2:00 on a rest day." And then I went out there, put my head around the corner, and I just see this guy waving the poster at me, and he's tracked us down. I took one look at him, and just went, "Fuck, I can't handle this." And I just looked at him, made eye contact, did a 180, walked back inside, and I was like, Luke, who's our media guy? And I was like, "There's a grenade out there, and you got to go jump on it." And he just sent him out.
Poor bastard.
I felt
could've
really
given-
bad.
You're wearing
We could have
that
given
shirt
that
with
poster
pride,
away on
aren't
the
you?
show.
I don't.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of nowhere. Like, this guy must have traveled. Like, there's one town like 50k that way, and one town 50k that way. I don't know where we are, but we're in the middle of nowhere. And
Well, I nominate you then for Great Writership Bloke Award.
yeah, any other race or any other day I would have done it. I like I said before I started the show off here, I was pretty defeated this morning. So that was my shit act of today. It's only 4 p.m. So.
Well, for those who haven't got social media, which is probably, let's say, 75% of our listeners, they may not have seen that we're running the Great Writership Bloke Award as we promised for the tour. No, wrong shirt, Jonesy.
Oh.
The one that George has got on. Yeah, so George has got a t-shirt on right now that says Great Writership Bloke on the front. We've got 2 of them we're going to give away at the Tour de France. We've got some nominees already, and we'll go to them shortly, but we're going to give them away on the Champs-Elysees. But you'll see also that the t-shirt that Jonesy's got on right now on the show, which says "Shit Writer, Great Bloke." Now, we've got a lot of you out there that listen to our show, and the people who have been commenting on social media about our recent merch drop. So you have got merch for sale now, and Jonesy will put the link up here. You'll see the website, but it's a fucking mouthful. So I'll tag them. I'll tag the website of the merch shop in the YouTube post and on the audio post, so you can see the link. It's also on our social media. You can buy the merch hat that Jonesy's got on his head right now. Blue hat, says merch in orange across the front. It's a fucking brilliant hat, I must say so myself. I can't wait to get a hands on that. We've also got for sale the t-shirt that George has on, the Great Writership Bloke t-shirt, that you can buy that on the merch store. But we've listened to you guys, and now on the merch shop, as of today, you can buy the Shit Writer Great Bloke t-shirt. So that's now available for sale also on the merch shop. So I'll put all that up on the socials for all you guys as well. But you've got your option now. If you're a good writer and a shit bloke, you can buy the one that George has got on. If you're a shit writer but a great bloke, which I imagine is most of you.
Are we making a special edition for Luke Rowe, who's been asking me every day for a Shit Writer, Shit Bloke t-shirt?
Yeah, we'll get one. We'll get one made for him.
All right.
And
Fits the
also,
mold.
I've got a jersey I can give away, Bills. This is the Alpecin limited edition for the Tour de France jersey. And that's thanks to the guys at Alpecin who will tag in on the Instagram, but we can give that away as well.
Shall we just look at this?
Fucking
How's
good bastards, eh?
How's it been back at the Tour, Jonesy?
Oh, mate, it's like coming back to high school. Like walking up the
A
buses.
little bit rusty,
just
I have
seeing,
to say. A little bit rusty. There was one
little
clip
bit.
doing the rounds that made me laugh when you went to. Can we play the clip? I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'll play the
Your
clip.
Vlas-
I'll play the clip. Yeah, I knew you'd bring it up, so I had it ready to go. Here's the clip. Leonard Kamner, you are the winner of the Rider of the Day award for SBS Sport. Australian television, you get a plush kangaroo. That's the award. You win the Ride of the Day.
Eh?
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Sorry.
Alexander. Sorry.
That's Vlasov. Sorry, mate.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't my finest. But in those, I was so embarrassed because the world media, that was in the mix zone. So the world media were all looking at me going, who's this clown? And I literally looked around and I said, we've got to go. We got to get out of here. It was bad. And then we went round to the Bora bus and we gave it to the real Leonard Kamner. I felt so fucking embarrassed. But it's a mad zone. Like it's obviously there was 2 years with COVID restrictions, and now they've opened up the floodgates and it's back to normal. But it's this weird, like when you go with the buses, everyone's got to have their masks on and that. But then when you go to the village, you know, there's people just fucking everywhere. Like you've just got to put the mask on 24/7 and, you know, just take all the precautions you can, because fucking hell.
We're still living in 2020, which we have to be, you know, obviously. And then back in 2020, it was okay because everyone was living in 2020. But now the rest of the world is 2022. They're having a hell of a time spraying it around, and it is spraying around like you wouldn't believe. And then so it makes it even worse. Like when everybody had a mask on and this and that, you didn't, you could almost like lean on them a little bit to have their mask on in the second that you didn't have your mask on. But now it's just ape shit. Everyone outside screaming, no mask, screaming, like also like up a hill. You know, it's awesome to see crowds back. I'm so excited for it. But then they make this tunnel, you know, and they're just clearing the roads in front of you, and they're just screaming at you, you know. And you're like, oh God, I think I had COVID, I'm dead.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. But like, at least we can. It's been a bloody good tour so far, and thankfully, the COVID gods are shining on the Tour de France today, and all the tests were negative, which is great for the race. Which means that the show will continue. And when I say the show, I mean it's a fucking show. Like there is some shit happening in the Tour de France this year that I've never seen in bike races before. Like, obviously there's a couple of freaks there. Like Wout van Aert's just been taking the, as Tom Pidcock said, who is actually one of my nominees for the Great Writership Bloke t-shirt because of his cracking interview where he just said he's just taking the piss. And he was.
That was good, eh? That was so good, eh?
He's just been taking the actual piss.
Yeah.
And like at what point does Jumbo Visma say, okay, mate, you've had your fun. You've basically won the green jersey with 11 days to go. You've won 2 stages. You've worn the yellow jersey for X amount of days. Time for you to stop going to breakaways. Time for you to stop just taking the piss out of everyone else in the peloton, and we need you to be a teammate now. You know, like, well, he is a teammate. I shouldn't say that in a
I think he's doing a
really
bloody good
way.
teammate, to be fair. He's doing everything. He's doing, like, in the Palo, he's still, the thing is, like, he's that guy that can do all that stuff. He's still being like a massive obstacle and trying to get to the front. Oh, fuck, Wout's there with these guys, you know? And you're like, yeah.
And what he did on the Roubaix stage, like he saved the GC for Jumbo. And yeah, I should backtrack a little bit on that statement. It came across wrong. He is a great teammate, and he's an absolute freak. Which allows
needs
him
to
do
be
all
better
these things.
teammates. Like beep beep beep.
I'm just going to remove myself from my own comment.
Distance yourself from that.
Yeah, distance myself from my own comment. But what I mean is that, like, is there going to come a point where they're going to have to use them in a different way? You know?
Yeah. Do you know what worries me is how I know they're going to use them, and what is coming for me is that I don't know if it's tomorrow, probably not. I'd say maybe Alpe d'Huez or the day, or Grand Honor Alpe d'Huez, day after, sort of Wednesday, Thursday, or potentially Pyrenees. But I don't reckon they'll wait that long. Is there's going to be one of these, like, remember how Valverde won the Vuelta, won the Vuelta that year from Rodriguez, when a couple of teammates up the road, they launch across. He's going to be the guy that's already up the road. Someone's going to somehow get to him, and then it's game on. You know, then we're on for like one of those days where it's just. There's already been so many days where I haven't even stopped for a piss. There was one day. I mean, okay, it was my own fault. Well, it wasn't. I had 2 punctures and a mechanical, and I spent 120k before I saw the peloton from the neutral zone. But there's been a few days like this where, like, it's just. I don't reckon anyone stopped for a piss yesterday. Like, just full gas, start to finish. But that was. We were just in control, but there's going to be a day where, like, if we don't ride that fast, Roglic or Jonas or one of the anyone else could do it as well, where, you know, there's that situation where you got a guy like Wout on the road, someone jumps to him, and it's just going to be one of those stages you watch like the whole 5 hours. Yeah.
And it's interesting you say that about, like, you guys riding fast, because there's obviously been a bit of stuff in the media about people, like some guys saying, like, oh, a UAE using the bullets too early, like with, you know, controlling breakaways that perhaps you could have I don't know, for argument's sake, giving the yellow jersey away or let breakaways win.
Get
or
off our
whatever.
backs.
Exactly. Like at the end of the day, like G hit it on the head in the interview yesterday, where he said, but they had it under control. Like they can do that. They did that
You know
because
what?
they can.
Absolutely giving me the shits this tour. The first week we weren't good enough. Everyone saying, these guys are not riding well. So what are you talking about? We're not riding well. Okay, we didn't make 8 lines. We didn't make 8 guys line up in a row for the TV. But Tade always had a guy with him. Always there. Okay, Roubaix stage, me and Brandon were both with him in the front, and we both crashed out. And then now we get to the terrain where our team's built for, where we just rode our pace. If the breakaway wanted to go away and wanted to survive, they had to be good. If they wanted to take the jersey, they had to be really good. We just rode a comfortable our pace. But it's our mountains. We've got one of the best teams in the world for the mountains. And then everyone gives us shit for being too strong. It's like, well, what do you want? Do you want us to be shit or do you want us to be strong? Make up your mind.
Do you know what it is, bro? It's the curse of the yellow jersey. There's not a single bike rider in the world, and I would have to say that Pogačar would have to be one of the most liked Tour de France winners. Like he's actually, you can just see in the way he presents himself across even his social media account. He's a fucking legend. He's just he's a young dude. Yeah, he did his little rap song. It's another nominee for a T-shirt with that rap song he did. But like, he's just.
I didn't see it. I saw you send it. I haven't seen it yet. I need to watch it.
Oh mate, it's so good. But like, he's just a young guy out there. He's having a fucking ball, and he's bloody good. But like, you know what? Every single year at the Tour de France, for as long as I can remember, the yellow jersey always someone picks holes in something to criticize. It's just the nature of the fucking yellow jersey.
Yesterday, Wiggins said I saw some headline like, if he keeps winning, people will start to hate him. Which I was like, that's such an interesting psychology. But do people hate Lance, or is it because
massively.
Did Lance start this trend?
No,
But did they hate him
it's the
before
old
they
analogy.
thought-
It's the old analogy of if you're writing a story, what's going to get more clicks is like good on today, or they're writing shit, or some sort of spice. That's all they do now. It's all just like whatever's going to get the clicks. But
the thing is,
at the end of the day, it doesn't change anything.
And actually, no one hates any of these guys. Like apart from the real fucking pessimistic cynics out there that think every single bike rider in the world is taking drugs. Those, well, let's just remove them from the equation because they're fuckwits. But
because those are just deeply flawed people that obviously have like massive issues with the rest of their life.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, you can't judge attitude of a non-rational person. You can't judge it. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
If that's someone,
so those people, the general people who say like, oh, UAE's weren't around Pogačar in the first week, or now UAE's riding too hard. Like all those people, like exactly like you say, Jonesy, they're just writing stories, or they're just creating stories or telling stories, or whatever. But at the end of the day, they love it. Like they're the same people that if they bump into Pogačar in the pub after fucking Champs-Élysées, they'll want a selfie with him.
Yeah.
So it's actually just stories.
We actually start keeping this black book and be like, wait a minute, mate. You criticize me for riding slightly too fast. So I'm giving everybody seasicknesses watching on YouTube because I'm trying to find a charger. Keep a little black book and be like, yeah, you criticize me for riding too fast.
They used to have a black book. Lance's team had a black book. So we all knew as journos, and the video you saw before, I'm not a journo's asshole. If you asked Lance a spicy question, you were scribbled in the book, and that was it. You couldn't get near him. So we knew that. So we used to just suck up his ass to get content. We knew all the spice behind the scenes, but we never asked those questions. We'd all be like, "Hey, Lance, how you going today? All good, mate." And this is when the heat was
dialed
up.
Slide in for a spicy question under sort of alternative egos, disguise.
The way you phrase that is you go, look, you've done a fantastic job today, given all the hatred that's being set out there at the moment, and you just sort of frame it that way. But talking about articles, there was another article because I was in the headlines again, and that was Cobble Robin Hood steals Simon Clark a Stone trophy. So that was on cycling
What
tips.
have you done?
So what happened is I was staying at the Flandrian Hotel.
You're going to get arrested. I hope they got Wi-Fi in jail.
Mate, I got
Because-
pulled aside by an ASO representative who wanted to know where I got that cobblestone from. I was staying at the Flandrian Hotel, and Jamie Anderson, they did road work out the front of his joint, and they had like the old cobbles, same cobbles that they use around the race route. And he said, "Oh, do you want to give one of these to Clarkie as a memento?" I said, "Oh, it's a great idea." So he threw it in the dishwasher, went to the stage, and I sort of hammed it up for Clarkie. I said, "You know, a mate got this on the race route." And he's, "Oh, wow, that's awesome." And you know, I said, we tried to get it framed, but the framing guy had a big night. So, you know, there you go. Anyway, straight away, a guy from ASO said, "Where did you get this?" And I said, "Oh, no, it was a construction at a mate's joint. Like, it's all good." And then, yeah, like Clarkie in the interview was like, "I can't name the bloke. You know, he's a mate of mine or whatever." But I was like, what's going on? And then it said people have been thrown in jail for digging up cobblestones on the race route as mementos, you know, theft. And if everyone did that, there'd be no cobbles left. So it's actually a serious thing in France. And I'm getting photos with the cobblestone. And yeah.
I love the thought that Clarkie's travelling around 3 weeks with a lump of cinder block in his bag that he thinks is a cobble. That's a bit of concrete from some bloke's house.
It's from the region, mate. That's all that matters. It's all
Oh,
part
but it
of
is
the
a
region.
cobble. It's not just a.
It's a
it's
a proper cobble. No. It's like a cobble from the
Oh.
1800s. It's a proper
Well, I
one.
thought some bloke had knocked his house down and you just taken a bit of concrete.
Well, there was that, but they dug up an actual cobble. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's legit. It's just we didn't steal
Okay.
it. It was given and it was put through
That's
the
actually
dishwasher,
super
so
cool,
it looked
though.
mint.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
sweet memento.
But how's that win though, Bills? Clarkie on stage 5. That was fucking incredible.
Mate, there's been some like I guess riding on an Australian team. If just want to focus on the Australians this first week of the Tour de France. Fuck, it's been a topsy-turvy week for Australian bike riders. Like Jack Haig's crashed out with a broken wrist in a stage that we said we made a fucking point about that stage before the Tour de France started. We said it shouldn't be.
We lost 3 GC guys that day because Ben O'Connor and
Roglic to a degree.
Roglic was Roglic essentially came out of the. You know, Roglic would be right now at 46 seconds if that stage wasn't there.
Yeah, and I gave both Ben O'Connor and Jack Haig a pin from Australia. And I said, "This is a safety pin, mate. This brings you safety throughout the tour." And they bloody binned it the next day. So I felt shit out about that as well.
Pins.
Put your fucking mask on and keep those.
I'm having a mozza, absolute mozza.
So yeah, we lost. Yeah, Australia lost Hagee, and they haven't lost Ben O'Connor, but they've lost his GC hopes in that stage. And then Clarkie obviously won that stage, which was a big peak for Australia. And then Bling, mate, I have to say, that guy is fucking unbelievable. Like the stages that he's been contesting are seriously impressive. You know, like small groups, hard finishes. But the poor bastard, his career has been cursed by like Peter Sagan, Wout van Aert. Like,
freaks.
Yeah, like he's just been cursed by these freaks around him, and like the thing is, Bling's an absolute freak as well, but he's just not quite freakish enough to be a freak on the freak level of those guys. Like imagine how many Tour de France stage wins he would have had if not for finishing second to like 1 or 2 of those guys. Like he'd be like probably double digits.
Forward, I think if you become in this tour at least, if you become second to Poggy or Wout, you can say that's a win. You know what I mean? Like
claim it.
Because on their terrain, they're just so good.
Yeah.
Hey, on Wout, is he a good bloke? Like, if I ask some
real
sort
good
of stupid questions, he'd be fine?
Yep. He'd probably just give you that. They give you that stare with the eye, you know, but he's a real good bloke. Yeah, he's a real good bloke.
I get the impression he's an awesome bloke, especially when he gave Dylan shit after that stage when Dylan beat him by like half a wheel or whatever. And as soon as they crossed the line, and Wout van Aert just said to Dylan, "Did you actually get that, or are you just claiming it?" You know, like because apparently they've got a running joke that like when they were on Jumbo, Wout van Aert said to, why do I keep saying Wout van Aert? We know who we're talking about. Van Aert said, said to Dylan, if it's close, just fucking claim it. Just convince them it's yours, you know? And so now they have this joke apparently where Van Aert won a stage in the Tour in Jumbo a few years back and it was really close and he just claimed it. And then Dylan did the same to Van Aert in another race at some point and just claimed it. And then the same thing happened here at the Tour. And then Van Aert's just like, are you sure you won that or are you just claiming it?
Well, then you could do a Jasper Philipsen and claim second.
Oh, another nominee.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, that's felt sorry for him too. Because man, you know how much he had to suffer to get. That was a hard climb. He had to hurt to get there. The fact he was in that front group. Wow.
Mate, yeah, that was
been
impressive
a hell of a
over
tour.
that. What's that?
It's been a hell of a tour. I would say that the next 3 days are maybe the combination of 10, 11, 12 might be the hardest 3 days back to back I've seen, or potentially 16, 17, 18. This tour has two of the worst or best, depending how you're looking at it, 3-day combinations I've ever seen.
I had a look at the stages coming up between this rest day and the next one, so the next 7 days or whatever. And then it intrigued me looking at it because I thought, when the fuck's the next sprint stage? So I continued to scroll through it. So I continued to scroll through it
in Paris,
and at stage 19, maybe.
Oh, is it 19? Yeah,
maybe. Not guaranteed.
We left Denmark, and one of the sprinters goes, "Oh, guess that's me until Paris now." And they were like pretty genuine, like, "I'm just going to survive till Paris."
Mate, there's no sprint stages. It's insane.
Oh God! Don't talk
What's
to me
Caleb
about
going to do? Just get through to Paris and hope for the best.
Yeah.
If Caleb gets through, good on him. Really, like, the sprinters, I feel very sorry for them this year. There's a lot of suffering and a lot of uphill starts, a lot of crazy long mountains, high altitude, and it's going to be 40 degrees every day.
I heard there's some heat coming.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
how's your legs going, George? You're bloody riding shit hot.
Well, this is the thing. The amount of messages I've had that have gone, yeah, great to see you've come around, or you've come good after that first week. Like 4 or 5 individual people have said that to me. I'm going, wait, what? When was I shit? And like, yeah, must have been a tough week, but good to see you bounce back. And I'm going, and then I'm trying to think. I think what happened was there was one day where it was a crazy long start. I think the break didn't go until the stage that Wout won. Oh, no. I don't know who won. I can't remember. God, that's good.
Pogačar.
Who? Oh, yeah,
Pogačar
Poggy won.
Yeah.
Yeah, Poggy won.
The Pog man.
And we start puncture after 1K. And it's crazy fast start. And I just get going, get another puncture, get going again. Finally get back to the group, and there's this little kicker, and my derailleur stops working. And I'm going, fuck, I'm in trouble here, but I cannot stop again because I've been on the limit. This is now 60K into the race, just getting back in kind of thing. And then all these guys in front of me, all the sick guys, there's a lot of sickness going around, and they all just stop in front of me, and I just can't get on the back because my derailleur's not working. And Jack Bauer was there because Bauer punctured at the worst time as well. So we came into this absolute hooped group, but we were there because we'd had problems, but everyone else was super sick. So they couldn't ride. And we just spent maybe 60 or 70K out the back with the TV camera, just this humiliation TV camera on us, just looking like, oh my God, these guys have all been dropped on this flat start. Like, what's wrong with them? And we're just swapping off, trying to get back. We eventually get back. I'm so fucked. And then just hit the last climb and I just eject. But I think everyone just went, oh man, he's creeping. Shit, he's creeping.
Yeah.
And then the next day was Planche de Belfi, and I was going, all right.
Yeah, but do you know what confused me was that that stage you just spoke about, I missed it because I was out training, and I stopped at the service station to get a can of Coke, and I jumped on Pro Cycling Stats or something to have a look at what was happening, and I just saw, I scrolled through the texts, and it was like George Bennett's dropped, George Bennett's alone, blah blah blah, all this stuff for ages, and eventually after 100K, it was like George Bennett rejoins peloton, and then I was like, oh fuck, don't tell me he's crook or something. And then I got home and I had a message from one of our mates saying like, fuck, what happened to George today? Because no one knew about the mechanicals. And I was like, I don't know. He's like, fuck, I've got a tough day. And then, so that was my image of what happened to you that day. And then the next day, I got home from training and I had it easier. I turned the coverage on, and it was like 1K to go until the end of the neutral zone. So 1K till the race started. And then I went and had a shower, came back after the shower. It's like 4K into the race, and you were in the cars by yourself. I was like, oh no, he is
gone. He's gone.
So all of a sudden, I had this image on my head that, George is fucked. He's going home. So I messaged Jonsey and Caitlin, what the fuck's wrong with George? Is he crook? And then Caitlin replies, because she hasn't got an idea. She's out running. Like, I don't know what's happening. I'm like, fuck, I just started off this whole chain reaction of the stress between me and your girlfriend. And she's like, keep me updated. And then I just started making shit up. Like, now the commentators just said he had a mechanical. I had fucking no idea. And then in the end,
I was at the bus. I was at the Greenwich bus, and they rolled up and they said, "How's it all going?" So good. And then Bauer said, "Hey, tell your mate Bennett owes me a fucking beer." I go, "Yeah." I go, "Yeah, mate. We ripped it to get back on." I was like, "All right, I'll go wind him up."
So strong.
Yeah. They were raving about it. But mate, it's just an absolute shit fight trying to get grabs like with anyone that's got some sort of profile here, because the amount of like wasps that follow groups, like it's almost impossible. And if you go in the mix zone, you're caught in the washing machine. It's just nuts.
And the COVID paranoia within the teams has really tightened everything up, because like especially we lost a guy to COVID, you know, so we are riding around with our bum holes clenched. And so we're now running such like we have to, you know, like really tight protocols. And then that just means, you know, before, like if there was no COVID going around, I feel like it'd be so much easier to step on the bus, have a quick yarn, no one gives a shit. But everyone's like off the bus and they're like, shit, don't stand near the people for long. Get away, mix zone, you know what I mean? And so it just becomes this, must make your job super hard here, actually.
Well, it's definitely made your job hard to get that fucking merch hat on someone's head while you're filming them.
That's right. Yeah.
Mate,
I'll spray it around.
We've got the biggest. Let it loose.
Let it loose.
And George has promised a photo with Pogacar with that hat on as well, and he's going to join the show, I think, as well at some point.
And he's going to wear the Great Writership Bloke shirt, and you watch sales fly through the roof. But on a serious note, it was great to see Caitlin do the shoes for Poggy.
Yeah, man, that's I'll tell
awesome.
You what. She said she had like 40 orders or something. One, she got home, I was like, have you checked Instagram? She's like, no, why, what happened? I was like, I should probably look at Instagram or something. And I talked to her that night, and she's like, oh my God, I'm overrun. I can't handle this. I think it's like on those own goals. You know what I mean? You think you're doing something good, and you've just sunk yourself. You've just gone like, I can't deal with this.
I saw her just before, actually. She popped around for a coffee just before we started the show, and she said that she's got like 2,000 or 2,500 more followers on Instagram just since Poggy posted about the shoes.
Holy shit.
Mate,
so
imagine how many shirts will sell.
Imagine how many hats would sell if he just had a photo of Poggy with the merch cap on.
Jeez.
All right, give me time. Don't they call that like the... Didn't you tell me about the... Was it you, or maybe it was Jesse Sargent telling me about the Lance effect one on their... on social media? I think it was you. Like, Lance said once, like, give this guy a follow or something.
Yeah, was that Tour of Luxembourg in 2010, and I was racing with Lance.
Bill's a follow or this guy a follow?
Tika Tawari. Lance still follows Tika Tawari. Probably.
Is there any Bitcoin advice from him?
Yeah.
I got a message from Lance today.
Follow this, bro, if you want financial advice.
I got a message from Lance last week saying, you motherfucker, I've lost millions in Bitcoin. It's crashed, and I've been following your advice on Twitter. No, I was at Tour of Luxembourg in 2010. I was there with me and Daryl Impey, and I was racing with Lance on the same team, Radio Shack, and we rode the front all day on the first stage, Daryl and I, and then we got dropped with like 40k to go or something, and Johan Brunel was the director there. He was like, just, you know, easy guys, just roll in, done a great job, whatever. But unbeknown to anybody, including the management or the riders, the time cuts at Tour of Luxembourg were just a blanket 20 minutes. It wasn't a percentage. It was just 20 minutes.
What?
If you're 20 minutes behind, you're out of the race. No one fucking knew this. Why would you? Why would you think that's even a possibility?
That's outrageous.
So as you can probably understand, Daryl and I missed the time cut that day, and then then Lance put a tweet out saying like, oh, it's bullshit that these guys have been time cut. Like at Sam Bewley, at Daryl Impey, like did an awesome job writing for me today. And like, mate, I woke up the next day, I had like fucking 5,000 followers or something, 5,000 more followers. Yeah, Lance effect. It's unreal, eh?
Wow.
Oh yeah.
There you go. There's a Poggy effect now.
You've probably got to go soon, George. But I've got one.
Yeah,
I just need to bring. I got to bring one thing up quickly while you're here. It's actually quite a good question, but what's more interesting is who the question came from. It's come from Kieran Bennett, your cousin.
Cousin. He's not actually my cousin, but he's, me and Kieran went to Worlds together, mountain bike Worlds. He's from Nelson.
Oh,
and
right.
He was one of New Zealand's best downhill mountain bikers, like the OG. Back in the day. Would you race Worlds with Kieran?
No, I don't know him.
Oh.
But he sent a question in, and he said, eventually the comments. I replied to him, and eventually he said, arguably George is the more famous Bennett, but if it came to a vote, it'd be close. But he I'm voting for Kieran. I don't even fucking know the guy, but I'm definitely voting for him. But his question was a good question for all of us. He's asking, do the guys get bonuses for winning Tour de France stages? And it's probably quite an interesting question for a lot of people. And the answer is probably not a blanket statement, but in general, yes. Most bike riders would have a clause in their contract or a bonus schedule in their contract saying that if you win, you might get $5,000 or something for winning a smaller race. And you might get $25,000 potentially for winning a Tour de France stage or winning the overall of the Tour de France. So, yeah, I guess if you want to chime in, George, but yeah, in general, you would be getting bonuses for winning Tour de France stages.
I talked to a guy yesterday who was on 60,000 on minimum wage, which is 60,000 or 50,000 euros a year. He was on minimum wage, and he won one of the big one-day classics, and didn't have anything in his contract. Still had a long contract with the team. He was in nothing, not a cent, not a pay rise, not a dime. Whereas people would probably get, some people might get 300, 400, 500 for winning one of these big races. And for sure a tour stage, But some guys don't. And if it's not in your contract, tough luck.
Can't do anything about it. Yeah.
Can't do anything about
I think...
But yeah.
I think there's been riders in the past, like maybe even Gilbert was one where he, like when he went to Quick Step, I think they signed him quite cheap for the rider he is. But he had these massive... He's like, all right, I'll sign for that small amount of money. It's probably still fucking $500,000. But he had like these huge bonuses in if he won classics.
And then he
the
won,
same.
He won Roubaix and...
He won Roubaix. He won maybe like Liège or something. I don't know. And he just went, boom, oh, there's my money. That's what I deserve. But it's actually not a bad way to do it. I remember Oleg
Cav would have done
years
that
ago.
last year. Cav would have done that for sure.
Remember years ago, Tinkoff used to say, I don't know why we pay riders so much in salaries. Why don't we pay them lower salaries with big bonuses? Because then...
The problem is you end up with a situation a little bit like the New Zealand national team has at the moment, where if it doesn't encourage teamwork, or you know what I mean? Like if you have one guy, everyone's getting paid based on their result, and you say, well, you lead him out, and you go, well, then I'm just putting bread in this guy's pocket, and I'm stopping myself from getting any. And it's a little bit like, this whole moral thing that you brought up around the New Zealand team. We didn't talk about it yet, but if you want to go to Worlds, obviously we've had some budget issues, so Vikings had a huge funding cut, and so they still want to have a team at Worlds, and good on them. And they just say, we've just got no money. So if you want to go to Worlds, you have to pay to go there. So, and that's flights, and you've also got to pay quite a bit for accommodation, whatever. I mean, that they're not making money out of us, but it's just how much it costs to run an event. And then you have this whole thing okay, well, if we've got 4 guys that have all forked out, I don't know, 10 grand, maybe 8 grand, 7 grand to go there, how can we ask one of them to work for the other guy?
Yeah, that's right. Dead right. Exactly why you're still in the sport and Tinkoff's not, mate.
Yeah,
Better outlook on things.
All right, boys. I got to get moving. I got a massage.
Yeah.
All right, mate.
Yeah, send us that photo with Pog with the hat on once you get it, and we'll chuck it
Yeah,
up.
we'll post that. We'll get it up.
Can't wait. All right, boys. Good luck with the rest of the show. I reckon everyone actually just probably turn off now. Probably can't get much better than.
They probably
I
will.
reckon just.
I'll give one quick shout out while you're here, since you know this person real well. I want to give a quick shout out to Nee Fisher Black, finished 5th at the Women's Giro.
Right.
21-year-old. Yeah, Finn Fisher Black's sister, Nee. She was 5th at the Giro.
Well,
for
Finn's
young
her
rider.
brother.
Finn's her brother. Jim's her
Finn's
dad.
her brother. Remember last time I left you guys alone in a show, you guys got into the intricacies of the financial structure of the cycling teams, and everyone just
went off the rails.
And everyone just sent in real abusive messages like, "Oh my god, I just wasted 30 minutes of my life."
Maybe we'll go podcast fishing for Oleg Tinkov then. Get him just waging on it.
Isn't he in jail?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I think he is.
Out.
Tax evasion.
Next
All
episode.
right, let's get him on.
Get him on.
All right.
All right. See you, boys.
Cheers,
mate.
bro. Good luck for the rest of the race. We'll
Thanks.
see you
Next Monday.
after the Champs-Élysées.
Yeah. Can't wait.
I was just
He's up and
noticing
down,
in
eh?
this jersey, it comes with this inbuilt into it. What's this for your mobile phone? Like a clip.
Yeah, radio pocket, maybe. Radio pocket, mobile phone.
Ah, that's cool.
I
We've
don't know.
started very exciting after George has left.
I reckon there's not a whole lot left to talk about. Should we wrap up with the nominees so far for the Great Writership Bloke Award?
Yeah. Yep.
So
And also, we need to work out how we're going to give this jersey away. Anyway.
So, all right, let's start with that. I reckon
domain.
the Alperson jersey that was donated to us by the Alperson Barbershop.
Yep.
What about we give that away in two different ways? I've got two ideas. You pick. I'll give you two options. Number one, best social distance podcast related sign on the side of the road, and it doesn't need to be seen on TV because that's fucking just luck if that happens. But send us a photo with you holding the sign on the side of a climber saying proof that you're at the Tour de France. That's one option. The second option is actually that's the best option. The second option.
Well, if you are holding that sign, just be careful too. Like, don't have it hanging out on the road. We don't want you getting in the slabber.
10 meters back from the tarmac.
Yeah. At least standing on your esky.
And the best one gets a Alperson Tour de France edition race jersey.
Do you want me to get it signed by Matthew Van der Poel?
Mate, if you can do that, I'm not backing you. So go for it.
Oh, okay. You want to give me a challenge? I'll probably end up getting it signed by the wrong bloke because I don't know what he looks like.
Make sure he's wearing that merch hat when you do it as well.
Yeah.
No,
I'll get him to sign it.
Yeah. So the nominees for the Great Writership Bloke Award, we've already posted 4 on the social media. One was G with the gilet. Everyone knows that problem. One was Magnus Cort saluting for the first climb of the Tour de France when he
that
got
was
the
awesome.
jersey.
Yeah.
The third one was what was the third one? There was one for There was one for the to the designers of that specialized fucking balaclava. That was the one. Oh, and the other one was Stefan Kung, helmet grabbing Ruben Guerrero. Right. So those are the 4 current nominees, and I have to say that G is light years ahead in the voting. So let's remove those other 3. So it's G, and now going up against the next few for the next week, which I reckon Philipson for saluting.
Yep.
For second. It's got to be one.
Yep.
Pidcock's interview when he said he's taking the piss. That's pretty funny.
Vlasov for taking the kangaroo really well.
Vlasov for taking the kangaroo really well. Yes, definitely. He's one. And what about the man himself, the Maillot Jaune, George's mate, Pogman, for that fucking rap video he did?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, why don't we rig it so that the Pogman wins it so that he wears the jersey and we can sell more merch?
Yeah. Well, we can
give him just tell George he won it. Just say he won it. Maybe and he has to wear it now.
Yeah. Well, maybe we give the Great Writership Bloke Award away to whoever wins by the end, but G's definitely leading at the moment, and then whoever else comes in, and then we give the shit rider great bloke t-shirt to Pogman.
Yeah, it's only an
'Cause he's
XL.
gonna-
He'll be right.
That'd be fucking funny. Let's say, like, if he wins the Tour de France and we call him a shit rider but a good bloke, it'd be fucking funny.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'll
No
find
one will
funny,
be
yeah.
doing that. I will.
No. Yeah.
I've got that massive kangaroo too that has got a yellow jersey on it, and I'm going to try and give that to him just before he goes up on the podium.
Shit, yeah.
What do you reckon
I
the
like it.
chances of him going up on the podium holding this kangaroo with the yellow jersey?
Slim to fuck all, but it's not about it's not about what the chances are. It's just about doing it. It's just about having a crack. Back yourself.
I'll have a crack.
What's
I'll have
the
a
worst
crack.
that can happen?
I'm going all chips in. I will make
Mate, you
sure
asked-
that I get that Roo in front of him as he's about to walk up the steps. I'm going to get in that mix zone. I'm going to hand it to him.
Mate, like if you
Or whoever
ask every
wins the
single-
tour. Whoever.
Yeah. If you ask every single bike rider you interview to put the merch cap on, 99 of them will probably say no, but one will say yes. And it's like, I don't know, it's like some guy who said he's, had 1,000 one-night stands. He's probably tried 25,000 times. So the rate's not high, but no one knows that.
That's right. I'll tell you, it was good catching up with Adam Yates the other day too. He's doing no media. You know what Yates like. And then I finally just walked in the middle of the road and I was like, Yatesy, pull over, you bastard. And he goes, oh, fucking hell, mate. Yeah, right, let's do a fucking interview. And then Luke Rowe rode past. He goes, what's going on here? He doesn't do interviews, this bloke. And then my microphone wasn't working properly, so I was fucking spewing. I got Yates' audio, but I didn't get mine, which is just as important. So, but I said to him, mate, this is an absolute privilege because I saw Mitch Docker before, and Mitch was like, who are you going to get? And I said, I'll try and get Yatesy on the way back. He goes, oh, good luck, mate. I tried to butter him up by giving him gifts, and Docs knows Yatesy pretty well. And he got the media manager to go on the bus to say, oh, Mitch Docker's out here to do an interview. Can you come out? And Yatesy went back and said, nah, I'm not doing an interview. Sorry. So the media manager said to Docker, yeah, sorry, mate. He's not coming out. So Docs was like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah.
Well, even if you can't use it, like Wout van Aert said to Dylan Groenewegen, claim it. Just claim it.
Claim it.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting because I will definitely stay tuned. If you see the Pog win the tour and then randomly go up on stage with this kangaroo wearing a yellow jersey, you'll know it was that 1%er. Exactly. Hopefully he's in the mindset, if he does win it, he'll be that pumped that he won and he sees it and he's just like, oh, this is awesome, but it's too late. People are going, come up stage. And he goes, oh, well, fuck, I'm stuck with it now.
Hopefully, if the boys pour a couple of glasses of champagne down his throat before that, then loosen up a bit, you might be right.
No, for sure. It's worth a crack.
Worth a crack. I'll back you. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
No worries.
That was, I'll post the merch store, the link to the merch store in the blurb. What do you call it? Like the description below. The description below. The merch link will be in there.
If you're on
don't worry about
Google,
the
just
shipping
go
costs.
to go to Batuta Advocate store, and it's under their collections DM podcast.
Yeah, shop.
So
Batuta Advocate shop. The shop.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the shipping costs, guys. It's a crisis, cost of living crisis. Just what happens international shipping these days. It's worth it though. It's good.
Well, you got to look at it like you could donate to a charity, or you could help a couple of battlers out.
That's it. We're a bunch of charity cases.
It's all going to be karma. It's all going to come out the wash, and it says "great bloke" underneath.
Exactly.
There you go. Are you a great bloke or not? Fucking prove it.
And if someone says to you, "Why do you think you're a great bloke?" Go, because I fucking paid international shipping costs for this fucking t-shirt. Beauty.
And someone goes, "Geez, that's a good shirt." You go, "Fuck, I want to be." Cost me bloody $80 to ship it out.
It's not quite that much, but
no, it's not that much. In fact, it's chook fee compared to that. So
it's like 75 or something.
No. It's not much at all. It's not much when you buy 10. Yeah, it's fine.
No, that's right. The more you buy, the better the value of shipping is.
Yeah. So anyway, we've done enough pushing hard. You know what to do.
Like, share, subscribe.